What will you do if you have doubt over a certain topic? You will consult an expert, right? Law is nothing different. It also does the same. We were discussing chapter 2 of Evidence Act, which is all about relevancy of facts, covering from section 5 to 55, and here we have one very important portion starting from section 45 which goes up to section 51, which is all about opinions. As a teacher, I face two different problems. Sometimes I get very less notes or materials for a particular topic, and sometimes I get huge number of materials for a particular topic. One such topic where we have lot of notes available, lots of materials available, lot of case laws available is section 45 and further. That is opinions of experts. Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari, and from here I am starting the series on opinion covering from section 45 to 51, and I am going to discuss in this particular session section 45 and 45A. Along with that, many more other important aspects which I am going to explain in my next slide. This is going to be a lengthy presentation, and I would like to explain that what are the different topics that we are covering via this presentation. The first thing that I am covering is section 45 and the amendment section 45A along with chart and illustration. Then we will try understand who is an expert. Then we will understand the importance of expert opinion. We will also try understand the different requirements of expert opinion, and we will try understand a little bit on the necessity of corroborating expert opinion as well as evidential value of expert opinion. Under section 45 and 45A, we see several number of expert opinions, but other than that, there are many other opinions also which are being added as a progression in this particular topic, which I am going to cover in my last slide, where I will be covering lot of other opinions which are respected by this act as well as CRPC. That way, it will be a comprehensive start of discussion on this particular topic, and whatever is missing here, I will add them in any of my future presentations, that is while discussing section 46 to 51. Wherever I feel it fits, I will add those notes. That way, once you cover all the 7 sections covered by me, you will have all the required aspects related to this particular topic. Now let's get into section 45. Section 45 discusses about opinions of experts. It says when the court has to form an opinion upon a point of foreign law, science, art, identifying the handwriting or finger impressions, the opinions upon that point of persons specially skilled in such foreign law, science, art, or the question which is identity of handwriting or finger impressions are relevant facts, and such persons are called experts. Below is my chart which makes section 45 very easy, and it covers section 45 comprehensively. Before even we get into chart, let us try understand why do we need section 45 to 51. Now under section 45, see, like if there is a doctor, he will have all the knowledge required for whatever specific area that he is practicing, or if there is a lawyer, he will have all the knowledge required for whatever he is practicing. Likewise, in every single field, a person who is practicing in that particular field or working in that particular field, he will have the knowledge related to that. But court is one such place where all of these people can come and they will ask question, and court has to find answers. Now a court cannot or will not have all the knowledge. So it is required to take opinions from the experts who are working or practicing in such area. That is how these sections are becoming very important as far as Evidence Act is concerned. Now coming back to the section, there is a question in front of the court and court doesn't have answer for the same. What is the question related to? It is related to foreign law, science, art, identifying the handwriting or finger impression. Now the question is related to these topics and court cannot make a point upon these points. Now in such case, court can take the opinion made by those people who have special skill over such point. And how are they getting special skill over such point? Maybe via a lot of observation or via lot of experience or with lot of study and practice. They are acquiring required knowledge or special skill over that particular topic, and they are also called as experts. And if there is opinion by those experts, in that case the opinion given by them is relevant fact. That's all about section 45. Coming to this foreign law, science, art, identification of handwriting and finger impressions, don't think that these are the only 5. There were a lot of case laws even in Supreme Court discussing that whether we need to limit only to these 5 areas or can we take expert opinion on other topics also, and now it is concluded that there can be expert opinion taken on other topics also, which I am going to cover in my last slide. For now, remember these 5 terms, and when a person is having a special skill over any of these 5 topics via observation, experience or via study and practice, and then if he comes and helps the court to make an opinion on that particular topic, he will be called as expert and his opinion is called as expert opinion, and these expert opinion are relevant facts. There are 3 beautiful illustrations, and in the first illustration there is one Mr. A who dead because of consumption of poison. Now we need to identify whether he is dead because of poison or not. Now if an expert who has all knowledge related to poison and the symptoms produced while a person is dying because of poison, if he confirms that A is dead because of consumption of poison, then his opinion will be considered as expert opinion. In the second case, there is one Mr. A who has done certain act, and the question here is when he did such act, he had unsoundness of mind. Here an expert may be a psychiatrist or a psychologist. If he or she confirms that yes, A's behavior shows that he had unsoundness of mind, or the symptoms exhibited by A is commonly shows that he had unsoundness of mind. In that case, the opinion made by such psychiatrist or psychologist is called as an expert opinion. In the third illustration, the question is related to handwriting of a person. Now, if the document is made by A or not, to conclude that a handwriting analyst can do matching with 2 different documents and he can make an opinion whether it is made by A or not, and his opinion will be considered as an expert opinion. While section 45 discusses about the foreign law, science, art, handwriting and finger impression, section 45A, an amendment section, discusses about opinion of examiner of electronic evidence. Now the Bare Act provision says when in a proceeding the court has to form an opinion on any matter relating to any information transmitted or stored in any computer resource or any other electronic or digital form, the opinion of the examiner of electronic evidence referred to in section 79A of the Information Technology Act 2000 is a relevant fact. Explanation: For the purpose of this section, an examiner of electronic evidence shall be an expert. As I said, this is an amendment section which is being added after the Information Technology Act 2000, and this is in similar line to section 45U. There we have discussed 5 different areas, but here the question is related to an information transmitted or stored in a computer or any other electronic or digital form. Now, when a person who is examining such resources and making an opinion, his opinion becomes relevant under section 45A, and the person who is examining such evidences is called as expert and his opinion is called as expert opinion. I don't think this is very difficult once after understanding section 45U, and my chart gives the same meaning and hope you can read through. The base of section 45A completely lies on section 79A of Information Technology Act 2000. That is why it becomes very important for us to understand what is covered under section 79A of IT Act 2000. Here is the provision which discusses about central government to notify examiner of electronic evidence, where the act says the central government may, for the purposes of providing expert opinion on electronic form evidence before any court or other authority specified by notification in the official gazette, any department, body or agency of the central government or a state government as an examiner of electronic evidence. So here the central government to notify examiner of electronic evidence, and the important aspect that we have to go through is the explanation given under this particular section, which says for the purposes of this section, electronic form evidence means any information of probative value that is either stored or transmitted in electronic form. I hope you remember the same words, that is stored and transmitted, is being used in section 45A of Evidence Act also, and it continues in electronic form and includes. Now here are the 5 important aspects which are included in this particular act is mentioned, that is the computer evidence, digital audio, digital video, cell phones and digital fax machines. So most of the documents of these days cases are coming from the mobile phones. So that is also covered here. I hope you understand the seriousness of section 45A, and we need to read it along with section 79A of Information Technology Act. Now let us try understand who is an expert. The act says an expert is the person specially skilled, but that is not sufficient. So let us take one very important case law to understand who is an expert. For this, I am taking the case law of State of Himachal Pradesh versus Jailal, or you can refer this case as Scaped Apple case. In Himachal Pradesh, one of the year during 1980s, people grown lot of apples, but they all got scaped. It is a kind of disease by which apple becomes not good for consumption. Now, government here had 2 important issues. One, people have already grown lot of apples. 2, these apples were not good for consumption. Government had to support those people who have already grown apples because there was no other meaning for them to have their livelihood. So what government decided, we will buy all the apples from those people who have grown this year, and then as it is not good for consumption, we will crush it and ensure that nobody is going to consume. So government announced 50 paise per kg apple rate and asked people to deliver it to the notified areas. Now people started dumping, taking money, it was being crushed, everything happened, but at the end of the year it was understood that about 30,000 tons of apples were being crushed. Now the question was whether those were really crushed or some mismanagement of data. Now to understand that, they are taking the help of one Mr. Sri P.C. Panwar, who had honorables from different universities, and then he was an expert in that particular area to assess whether there were such amount of apples being grown in that year, etc. So they took an expert opinion of Sri P.C. Panwar, and I have given full details of him so that you understand why did the court considered him as an expert, because he has done several work in that particular area or horticulture area or agriculture area. So you can understand the importance of an expert as being knowledge, experience, etc. And here in this case law, Supreme Court held that an expert is the one who has made particular study, practice or observations and must have a special knowledge of the subject, and he should have acquired a special knowledge by studying such subject or by experience therein, or in other words that he is skilled and has adequate knowledge of the subject. And an expert is not a witness of fact. An expert evidence is really of an advisory character. All of these were held in this case law. So while defining who is an expert, it also said that he is not an witness, or his advice cannot be considered as 100% evidence. It will be considered as an advisory character only. That is what I explained in duties of an expert also. Especially you can refer my notes on Titley versus Jones, where it was stated that the real function of the expert is to put before the court all the materials together with reasons which include him to come to the conclusion, so that the court, although not an expert, may form its own judgment by its own observation of those materials. So basically he, with his understanding on that particular topic, he gives particular amount of materials to the court and he helps the court to come to a conclusion by making his opinion. Now with his suggestion, with his material, with his knowledge, with his observation, with his experience, court may come to a conclusion. That is what we need to understand, and those were the duties of an expert. With that, let's move on. Then comes the important question, that what is the importance of expert opinion? Again, I am going back to the case law of State of Himachal Pradesh versus Jailal, where the court held that the person who is considered as an expert, who will have special study over that particular subject, and with such study he has acquired lot of special knowledge and experience, and his interpretation on data and materials which are being provided to the court or available in the court will be taken as a material to conclude by the court on the questions that are arised in front of the court. That is the important which is being explained in State of Himachal Pradesh versus Jailal. The another case law which is very interesting, that is Ramesh Chandra Agarwal versus Regency Hospital. I will explain the facts in my next slide, but here it was said that layman doesn't have the knowledge of subject matter and court too doesn't have the required knowledge on the question in front of it all the time. So it becomes very important to have an expert opinion. That is what held here, and let us try understand the case law of Ramesh Chandra Agarwal in my next slide with another main heading. Here we are discussing the requirements of expert opinion. What is the requirement? Again, this is being discussed in detail in the Ramesh Chandra Agarwal versus Regency Hospital case. Now, Ramesh Chandra Agarwal, who was aged about 60 plus and he was retired teacher, and he comes to Regency Hospital with certain issues, and when tested it was proved that he has tuberculosis, TB. Now he was being operated, the operation was a fail, and again they operated and it was also failed, and then he was moved to a hospital in Delhi, that is Vimans. I have already given the details in my previous slide. Now, the first two operations were failed in Regency Hospital, and the claim from Ramesh Chandra Agarwal was this is because of medical negligence. While discussing this particular case law, the Supreme Court held that the test is that the matter is outside the knowledge and experience of the layperson, or thus there is a need to hear an expert opinion where there is a medical issue to be settled. The scientific question involved is assumed to be not within the court's knowledge. Thus, cases where the science involved is highly specialized and perhaps even historic, the central role of the expert cannot be disputed. Now, these are the important provisions held here. 1. The aspect discussed cannot be understood by layperson. It is not in the court's knowledge also to understand that particular topic, and this is something scientific or medical related issues. In such case, it is essential to take an expert opinion before concluding anything on that particular case law. That is what held here. Along with that, it also said that the expert must be within a recognized field of expertise. The evidence must be based on reliable principle, and the expert must be qualified in the discipline. So whoever is giving expert opinion, he should have expertise in the area that he is giving expert opinion. He should have the required qualification, and there should be reliable principles on which such opinions are given. All of these are covered in Ramesh Chandra Agarwal versus Regents Hospital case, and you need to refer while discussing this particular topic. That's all about the requirements of expert opinion. The next important question is necessity of corroborating expert opinion. Now, whether it is required or not. Here there are many case laws, and one of the important case law, that is Magan Bihari Lal versus State of Punjab, where it was held that the expert opinion need to be taken with great caution. That is what held here, and similar judgments came in the case law of Ramachandra versus State, Ishwari Prasad versus Muhammad Isa, Shashi Kumar versus Subodh Kumar, and Fakhruddin versus State. But in the case law, that is Murali Lal versus State of Madhya Pradesh, Supreme Court held that nothing will justify the rejection of the opinion of an expert supported by unchallenged reasons on the sole grounds that it is not corroborated. Now here lot of importance is being given to an expert opinion, and it was also said that it is the final call of the court to accept or reject it. Whether corroboration is there or not, the court can finally decide whether to accept such an expert opinion or to reject the same. Evidential value of an expert opinion. Now this is never concluding topic. Sometimes it is considered as one of the main evidence after taking an expert opinion, and many of the cases also drops such expert opinion. Now if there are any direct evidences available for a case, in that case direct evidence or the eyewitness evidence stands tall comparison with expert evidence, or if there are data evidences are available, in that case they are standing tall as against the oral evidences. So while making expert opinions, we have to consider all these facts, and I have given two important case laws here. But as I said, this is never concluding topic. It always in discussion whether an expert opinion has evidential value or not. But saying so, with science developing every day by day, the expert opinion on the background of scientific study or medical etc., the opinions of expert is gaining more and more importance. That is what you need to understand. Like for example, I am going to discuss about the guns etc., from which gun the bullet has come out, or what is the model of that particular gun, or when was such gun used for the last time. all of these are gaining more and more importance, and with lot of study, knowledge and experience, few experts are giving excellent opinions, and their opinion will stand or will have lot of evidential value. So that is a kind of person to person basis which is going to change, or case to case basis which is going to change on case basis. So there I will not conclude whether it is having 100% evidential value or not, but when it comes to the question of science or medical field etc., the evidential value of an expert opinion is really high. With that, let's move on. The last part that I am discussing here is other expert opinions. Under section 45, we have seen only 5 category of experts. Now the question in front of Supreme Court many times that can we consider other expert opinions or not? Now after several discussions under several case laws, now it is concluded that we can take the expert opinions other than those 5 areas which are mentioned under section 45 also, and you can consider this as a progressive law. Here the expert opinions like ballistic experts who are making opinion on bullet, cartridge, gun etc. The opinion made by the tracking dogs are also expert opinions, and it is also relevant. The opinions made on blood stains, blood groups, DNA matching are also considered as expert opinions. The opinion made on alcohol and breed test is also considered as an expert opinion. The opinions on photography, tape recording, audio recording, call recording, video recording, all of them are also relevant, and this you can see along with section 45A of Evidence Act and 79A of Information Technology Act. Here you can also think of CCTV evidences, which is very important to analyze if there are any tampering etc. And then there are experts who do hypnotizing, truth or lie detectors, they are also relevant. And hair detect analyst, they are also very important because they can analyze a very old dead bodies also, that is also very important. The brain mapping experts are also very important evidences these days. Then we have age mapping. However, in the case law of Shah Nawaz versus State of UP, it was held that age mapping can be done only when there are no relevant documents are available. And then we have impotency expert or impotency test, which can be an expert opinion, which was held in Amol Chauhan versus Jyoti Chauhan. Here I have given a list of dozen such other expert opinions, but this is not exhaustive. There are many more other areas where the court takes expert opinions based on the need of hour. That is what we need to remember. Finally, you can refer section 293 of CRPC, where reports of certain government scientific experts is considered as relevant, and there you need to refer clause 4, which has 6 subclauses, which is discussing about chemical examiner or assistant chemical examiner of the government, chief inspector of explosives, director of the fingerprint bureau, director Hafikian Institute of Bombay, deputy director or assistant director of a central forensic science laboratory or of state forensic science laboratory, the serologist to the government. All of these are also considered as relevant under section 293 of CRPC, and these are also coming under expert opinions.
Looks like a lengthy session. I'm tired. You must be tired. Now let's take a break. Let's go somewhere in this beautiful bus.
Nishan, what's happening there?
Nothing, Papa. I was just talking to your students. With that, I'm concluding this session. Please subscribe our channel. Please like, share and comment our videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.